Welcome to the French Drain Man channel. I'm Robert Sherwood, and I just wanted to go over what it takes to lay out a job before you put your sweat equity into it and your rental equipment money into it. You want to have a good, well thought out design. So I'm going to show you the great lengths we go to getting it right. And you really do have to sit down, take a look at your property, all the obstructions. So I did a drone flight over this job site so that we can discuss it as an intro. And then I'm going to take you on the ground and show you the full installation from A to Z, because you guys love that stuff. We got 1.5-inch round rock. We love round rock because it doesn't compact, and we like it to be about 1.5 inch in size because it leaves larger voids. You see all the obstructions. You see how this home is laid out. This is a very flat yard, a very large yard, and we have 2 outbuildings for storage. We have this large play area. We have a garden. We have landscape. I mean, there's just so much stuff that's preventing the water from draining down to the street. So we actually went right through the play area. Don't be afraid to undermine some wood timbers. And this play area actually had pea stone, which was because of the drainage problem. It was always underwater. So we went underneath the timbers through the play area to give the water more of a straight line, but we also had to put a system right in front of the entire play area because water was just getting trapped and it couldn't drain, it couldn't flow past all these obstructions. Now, everybody's yard is like this. You have patios, decks, you have jacuzzis, landscape. I mean, you think about it, sheds, I mean, storage bins. I mean, there's obstructions everywhere. Some of them are more permanent than others. So what we do is we go ahead and not only do we just go around some of these obstructions, but we'll actually go through some of these obstructions. We'll go through landscapes. You guys see us do it all the time. We'll run our roof runoff systems right through landscapes, in between all the bushes and boulder rock and, flagstone, So you can see the guys, they're digging out a really nice big trench here. This is probably going to be a quad pack. To be honest with you, I got so much unedited video to go through. This job was a couple months ago. But you can see all the coils of high octane. Definitely tells me that we put a lot of pipe in the ground. So the guys use a bigger bucket when they're going to do a quad pack. I like the trench to be 16 inches deep and at least, 18 inches wide for a quad. Now you're really moving some water. You're really drying out the yard, because think about this. Look at all those obstructions. Look at all those obstructions. Look at our plywood road. Wind through all the landscape beds and outbuildings and play areas. So, I ran our drainage system right through the heart of the problem and right through the play area, and it turned out great. It's been in a couple months, 2-3 months now. This, believe it or not, was a spring install. So here we are. It's like a T. So we had a real wet spot, up inside this big, large, flat area. And I told the homeowner, we just got to come up here with a feeder pipe. I got to just tee off and just run it in the troubled area. Now you see all that high octane? That's high octane 8 slot. I mean, the inlets are really, really open on the royal blue French drain pipe that we have. That's what makes it so unique, is because it has the largest inlets. It actually lets water in faster than any other pipe in the world. That's why we say that the high octane yard drain pipe is the fastest yard drain pipe in the world. It's going to pull water in faster. It's going to literally take in the water quicker. If water's being, say, removed slower, it allows your yard to become saturated. That's the problem with these Home Depot pipes and these pipes that people are buying at Lowe's. Even the agricultural 8 slot that people like to buy, the yellow. I mean, you're going to, compromise your yard, because when the system removes the water, but it takes longer, it's just going to end up turning your yard into a spongy mess. Our systems move the water so quick, it evacuates the water immediately from the yard. This way you don't end up with a subsoil, water problem. You don't end up with this spongy yard. And then you have low oxygen to your grass, and then you're having trouble growing really nice grass, and the whole thing just snowballs. And it's one thing to get rid of the water, but you want to do it quickly. Yes, speed is important. Yes, being able to remove that water quickly, that changes everything from the landscape being healthy and lush and not having wet feet to, yes, having more oxygen in your turf grass and a better looking turf grass, a better growing turf grass, easier to maintain, easier to care for, less disease, all of the above. So here we are on a very, very big flat lot that happened to be on the St. Clair River. It's a really big river. We can see Canada on the other side. And this is in a place called East China, Michigan. And if you're asking where the heck is that, I get it. It's not very big. It's kind of small. And yeah, this is about the only thing that's going on in East China, Michigan. Right there, what you see. Us digging this trench. But in any case, we are hauling away all this dirt. I'm not trying to repurpose it on this flat yard. Why? You're going to try to do what? Put it in a low spot? Okay, what did you just do? That was your collection area. You want to put your French drain pipe right in that collection area. That's how you're going to pick up all the water. If you fill in all those low points that are your collection areas, you already got a flat yard. The water's having a hard time finding its way out. If it's possible to keep making your yard flatter and flatter and flatter, and it is, and I've seen it time and time again, what happens is now you have to do a French drain grid, which, that's going to require 3-4 times the amount of French drain and pipe. You literally just have to run a bunch of line, a bunch of pipe when you have a perfectly flat yard, and now the whole thing is saturated. There's always these low areas, these low elevations, and they're pickup points. They're right where you want to run your pipe. Those collection areas are so important. So haul away this dirt. Don't try to repurpose it. It seems like every time a homeowner wants to repurpose their dirt, it ends up backfiring because they run a bunch of French drain, they repurpose the dirt, now the water's setting somewhere else, and it's not even where the French drain pipe is at. So just get rid of the dirt. And notice how we're only handling this dirt once. Francisco digs it up out of the trench. We drop it in a bucket, run it out to a dump trailer, and put it in the dump trailer. Okay, so that's handling it once. I mean, if you want to take this and then dump it in a pile on the, let's say the apron of your driveway, and you're going to give it to a friend neighbor, and then they don't end up showing up, and now it's compacted again, and you're handling it again, and now you're maybe putting it on a utility trailer, and then you're going to have to shovel it off that utility trailer, so you're handling it 3 times? I'm trying to help everybody here. So yes, you can rent dump trailers. Yes, that is the way to go. Find a place near you that takes clean fill. It doesn't cost that much, and just run it to them. Just run it to them. Handle this dirt only one time. It's super key. It's very important so that this job goes smoothly. I've seen people dig their dirt out and put it on plywood, and then they got this big, long vein of clay globs. Now, they didn't really think about it past that. They're like, okay, now what? Well, guess what? I get calls like that all the time. DIYers that tried to do their own job right here in Michigan, areas that we service. I go there, the trench is already dug. There's a bunch of dirt laying next to it. And I tell them, I got to charge you more now than if we would have came here with a clean slate. Because they think, well, I did the hard part, so you could probably, do it at half price. No, I can't. Cleaning this mess up is going to take us more time than if we would have just handled this dirt once, dug it out of this trench, put it in the bucket, and got rid of it. Now we got to clean up this, clay that's been laying there. It got rained on a few times. So, and contractors, probably the hardest thing is trying to figure out how to carry your plywood. We've, tried everything under the sun. I actually do have a dump trailer that we converted over to just hauling plywood for jobs where I need this much plywood, because plywood weighs so much when you got 3/4 inch womanized treated plywood, because that's the only thing that holds up to our abuse. We can at least get a season out of it, and I buy a couple skids of it every year. We'll pile that up, 2 skids high on this, converted over, dump trailer that's, got the axle that it has a 14,000 GVW axles. That's what it takes to carry plywood across town. Now we do have some, F450s, things like that we're, carrying plywood on flatbeds, and that's the way to go, people, right there. You definitely want to, if you're going to do this, if you're going to even, do this as far as, you're going to use the minis for landscape, you're doing some other services, and you got to have plywood, you're going to need a really strong flatbed that can handle all this weight. And dump trailers and dump trucks, man, go heavy, because this dirt, especially in the spring and the fall, when there is a lot of moisture in it, it's insane how heavy it is. I'll tell you, this is a reality check. So I'm the one that pulls the stone in the big gooseneck dump trailer that you see in our videos. And we have 2 of them. And again, we have a lot of old videos that I just have to, edit and get out to you guys. But you'll see a new red one that we have. I pull those big ones, and I'm always overloaded. I'm just going to come clean. I'm always overloaded. I'm telling you right now, when I come in heavy with stone and I leave heavy with the clay, I'm heavier with the clay, and I'm overloaded both ways. But I'm just, telling you, whatever you're deciding to buy for a dump trailer, whatever you're deciding to buy for a dump truck, step it up. Make sure you overhoist it too. We've had a lot of special dump trucks built over the years, and we just overhoisted it. That's, something you can ask the fabricator to do. Step it up to the next size hoist so you're not in the back of that dump truck shoveling it by hand, which is just an absolute nightmare. I mean, after you spent all your hard-earned money on a nice new dump truck, and now when you overload it, it can't dump it. I mean, you don't want to be in that position. I have been, and, it only happened once to me, and everything after that gets overhoisted. I step it up to the next hoist, even if they look at me like I'm crazy, because, we're going to overload it. I want you to look in this trench, and as we're walking around, you're going to see a boulder. We came across a really, really big boulder, and we actually had to dig around it. So I seen it, about 30 seconds ago. And as Gabby pans around and I got to thank her for getting all kinds of great video this summer for you guys. You definitely got more video out of us this year than you ever have, just because there was 2 of us shooting. I was flying the drone. I was doing some, shots from the ground. I could go, back to the office, run appointments, and Gabby can, sit there and get some extra footage for us. So that was dynamite. But there's a 3-foot boulder. It was just way too big to get, we weren't going to even, that's Valente. He joined us this year. Great addition. Guy has a great sense of humor, and you need that. You need a guy on the crew that likes to joke and tell jokes and things. But if you run into a big rock, do not spend half the day trying to remove it. You just go around it. I mean, that's what's so easy about, running French drain. Don't be so, feeling like I have to stay the course. No, you don't. We run into stuff all the time. I mean, there's some crazy stuff when you're digging that you find. And a lot of times you're going to go around it. I mean, because it's just not feasible, not reasonable to, put the time and money and energy into what it's going to take to remove that giant stump. Heck, we just did a job where we went under a stump and tunneled under a stump to put a sump line in. I mean, so whatever it takes. Sometimes there's ways of digging around it or under it. That's a lot easier than removing whatever it is you run into. And you're going to find all kinds of stuff, because the homeowner before you cut down 3 big trees that you didn't even know were there, or maybe you've seen it in some old, pictures. But trust me, when I bid a job and I pull up the Google Maps, and I pull up Google Earth and I see big trees and I go there and the trees aren't there, I tell the homeowner, all right, well, this is going to be a tough dig. There's going to be a lot of roots. Going to have to charge you extra because of all the big tree roots and the time it's going to take. And they say, oh, no, we cut all those trees down. And I'm like, yeah, but the roots are still there. When you cut a tree down, you don't, to take the roots. I mean, they're still there. I don't care if you grind the stump. So what we did is we pulled back the weed barrier in this play area. It was just some pea stone on top of some weed fabric. We pulled it back, and we just tunneled underneath those wood timbers. And I just wanted to give this water a couple of different options. I mean, the water's going to find the vein of stone. The water's going to move through these veins of stone. So in a couple of areas, you see where like up here, this was a troubled spot. So I just, like a letter T, it looks like a letter T. Look at that nice, clean, big bucket on there. I mean, really removed a lot of dirt. You can see the boulder we went around. Heck, that's a big boulder. We're not there to remove a boulder. I'm sorry. And the system, you just go around it. It literally doesn't change a thing. So hopefully that helps you guys, because you're going to run into all kinds of things. And dynamite permits are hard to get these days. Okay, so again, right here at the swing set, I did the same thing. I just did a line right in front of the swing set, in front of that little outbuilding. And this is just to pick up all that water it can't, find its way down to the street. It hits these obstructions. These obstructions that we don't see as obstructions. They're, a play set for our children. They're an outbuilding for storage, landscaped, treatment to beautify our properties, to, make our outdoor living experience that much nicer. All these things change how your yard drains. You're just going to have to go through them and around them. In this case, you've seen we went right through this play area, and I'll go through landscape beds all the time. And then I got a couple of, we teed off the top. We got a line right here, and we're grabbing up all the water. See, the water couldn't get past all these obstructions. There's a garden to the left of the blue pipe. You got the play, ground to the right. We got the water out of there. I mean, this guy is happy. He was pulling his hair out, tired of living like this, and you don't have to live like this. I realize new carpet, new furniture, I mean, I understand that's fun making those purchases. But when you improve your outdoor living, I mean, you get a lot of value from that. When your dog, you don't have to wipe their paws off. And when your kids come in and their knees aren't all muddy, and, the yard isn't just a mess, when the guy cutting the grass isn't getting stuck, all of that. I mean, it's worth it. It definitely is worth it, just from the fresh air standpoint. I mean, a lot of these yards that we go to, I mean, as you're digging, it smells rank. I mean, when there's low oxygen to the soil, grass roots are rotting, tree roots are rotting, so you got a lot of rot. And no doubt there's a lot of mold and mildew. So you have those spores blowing around, and when you open your windows for fresh air, guess what? It's not so fresh. So you can see we got the big 1.5 inch, I love that, big 1.5 inch round rock. Everyone says, well, can I use crushed limestone? Sure, just make sure it's 1.5 inch. Now, crushed stone is going to have smaller voids than round rock. Round rock's going to have larger voids. It's going to move more water. Now, think about this. This is really important, people. Think about this. So these giant voids, what are they doing when they're not moving water? They're moving air. So you got air drying out and tightening up your yard. That's why our systems work. That's why they work so well. So here, 1% of the life of our French drain systems are moving water during a hard rain event. They're evacuating the water quickly so your yard doesn't end up saturated. See, all this driveway water and everything would get trapped in this green belt in between these outbuildings. We went ahead and ran our French drain right in there. We're going to grab up all that water, and we'll get all that water down to a storm drain at the street that we ended up coring and tapping. So what core and tap means is we literally take like a hammer drill, and we got carbide on a core drill, and we go through 12 inches of concrete, and we put a piece of Schedule 40 in there, and we hydraulic concrete the Schedule 40 in, and then we connect our French drain pipe to that. So you can see how that rock, each one is as big as an egg. It's about the shape of an egg too. It just worked out that way, but I'm just so happy with this vein of stone that we've been working with for the last couple of years. It's been fantastic. So I'm getting this from a quarry. They screen it down. I let somebody else buy the pea stone, because a pea stone's full of dirt. It's full of sand. It doesn't have voids. The pea stone's a joke. These systems made of pea stone are always just, they're like a slow sieve. I mean, it's when I dig these old systems up that are performing poorly and they got pea stone in them, I could see why the yard still is wet and still a mess. There's no air moving through that. Like I said, the water still is held in that pea stone because there's a lot of sand in pea stone. This product is the product they screen for, a really good quality cobblestone. So the byproduct of getting this good quality stone through that process of screening, the pea stone and sand is what they're trying to get rid of. It literally is the cheapest material that you can buy and use for anything, whether you're mixing concrete with it or making, say, exposed aggregate concrete patios that are beautiful. Actually, that's where it belongs. That's where it shines. But everywhere else, it kind of sucks. It's not very good for drainage, and it's just the cheapest thing. They're damn near giving it away. They really need to try to do whatever they can just to get rid of the stuff, because there's that much pea stone screened out of this nice cobblestone that we use for our drains. And also, they use it for landscape treatments. It looks fantastic. It's beautiful shoreline stone. Here in Michigan, we have great natural stone. I mean, our natural stone that's smooth and round is just absolutely beautiful. It has really nice color. That's why our open French drains I love them. They just rock with this 1.5-inch cobblestone. You can see how large the stone is. Now, sure, there's some dust. I mean, it's impossible to get washed stone these days. Guess what? High octane has such a big inlet that all the dirt that's in the stone, because they don't want to wash stone anymore, it's just going to go right through the big inlets and wash right out. Now, I've had cameras in our systems, and I've shown you guys video footage of like the first big rain events of one of our new systems, and the water is quite murky. It is quite muddy because it's basically flushing our stone clean. After a few good rain events, our stone ends up so clean that the water that's coming out of the discharge end of one of our systems literally looks like it's coming from a mountain stream. I mean, it's crystal clear. So don't worry about the dirt in the stone if you're using high octane. Trust me, the inlets are so large, the dirt washes right through it, and over time, it just gets cleaner and cleaner. When we open up one of our systems that's 5, 10, 15 years old, we can't believe how clean the stone is inside. It's just absolutely amazing, because all that dirt will just wash through the big inlets. See, before high octane, we used to have to take a Dremel tool and open the inlets on our pipe. We didn't tell nobody. That was, something we did in-house on rainy days. It was painstaking, and it was no fun. But it's what it took to get our systems to perform. People didn't know we were doing that. I ended up sharing some of those hacks with you guys. Once we got high octane, that was the answer. We finally got a yard drain pipe with the inlet that we needed. See, in ag, you don't need as much inlet. And the reason why, once a 4-inch pipe is full, it's full. You can't make it any fuller with water. And these runs on a farm, you're doing just hundreds of acres, miles and miles of runs. So they're collecting the water over a greater distance, filling the pipe over a greater distance. Yard drains are different. We need to collect all the water right now, right here, right now, and fill that pipe as fast as we can. That's why we want more inlet. That's why the high octane is such a value to a good yard drain pipe. So here we are. We got our round rock in here with our high octane. I mean, the drains don't get any better than this. 1.5-inch round rock with high octane. High octane has 17.25 square inches of inlet per linear foot of pipe. That is insane. There's no other pipe on the planet that even compares, doesn't even come close, nothing. So you can't beat the Royal Blue high octane 8-slot. FDM's high octane yard drain pipe, manufactured by the Boffman Tile Company. So here's our system, and check it out. I mean, we are catching all the water in those locations where the water couldn't get past the swing set, it couldn't get past the outbuilding, couldn't get past the landscape. The water would just end up stuck there. And then we had this one area on this really big flat yard, kind of right in the middle here, where it was spongy soft and it was a good collection point. So we took advantage of that. Don't fill those areas in. You're just going to make headache for yourself. Look at that as a value. When you have areas that are the collection points in your yard, you need to run your pipe through those collection areas. Don't fill those collection areas in. So things are looking really good here. It's been, a pretty long day. East China is quite a drive from where we dispatch. And heck, this was a pretty good sized job. There was a lot of trench here, a lot of dirt hauled out, a lot of pipe put in the ground, a lot of stone put in the ground. But the guys are, putting the grass back together, and, you know what to expect from this crew. If you subscribe to this channel, you know what to expect from this crew. And if you don't subscribe to this channel, why are you not a subscriber? Hit the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. You know, that's really what keeps me motivated, and that's what keeps me going, is the fact that I get so many emails and comments on YouTube. I get emails to the office. Your videos help me so much. Your videos saved me thousands and thousands of dollars. I was going to go with this one company, and, you know, after seeing your videos, I knew that was not what I wanted. And they ended up buying the products, watching our videos, purchasing the products from us, and doing their own install, saving themselves thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. It's done right. And moving on, you know, life happens, you know, get past that yard drainage issue, because I realize, you know, what a nightmare that is when you have a yard that you cannot use when we're in spring, fall, you know, the rainy season, and there's a rain event. I was just with a customer, and boy, they painted a picture. They said every time they're having an event in their yard, they have to worry. Look at all the blind inlets, those royal blue, French Drainman royal blue blind inlets. I just wanted to point that out. They said every time we have an event in our yard, you know, and the days are going by and we're getting closer, they're just, you know, freaking out because they know one rain could leave them in a bad way, and now they can't play volleyball, and now the yard's just going to be a mess for where they're going to put the tent up. And yeah, I mean, put in a good system and not worry about it, because yeah, that is a problem. And yeah, it's Murphy's Law. If you're going to, you know, set a date for a party and, you know, months in advance, you mail out invitations. So you see all those, you know, high octane royal blue inlets, those are blind inlets. It's basically like a, you know, inline drain, but the difference is this won't let debris into your system and contaminate it. All right, everybody, until that next video.